What's going on, y'all? Corpus Christi Originals podcast, back at it again with the Recycled Corn podcast, and I got to introduce these guys, make sure I do it correctly. We got Ben DeLeon.
Yes, sir.
And his assistant.
Wow. Wow. Negative co-host.
No, I like assistant. I
Don't care what you like.
And we got, with Ben DeLeon, we got his assistant, the host with the ghost, Prince of the Paranormal, Duke of the Dead, Sinister Minister, the Dean of the Deceased, the Ghost Daddy himself, Lord Scuba Cabra, a.k.a. Lord Scuba Steve.
Damn right.
Yeah, welcome, guys.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
This is awesome.
So how'd y'all feel when I invited you on the show?
Surprised?
He contacted me and he's like, dude, guess what? And I'm like, what? Why are you like squealing like a little girl right now? Like he was all giggly.
I was excited, dude.
Giggly and bubbly, so don't let him downplay it. He was super stoked and I'm like, all right, cool, let's do it, bro. Nice. He's like, no, but you don't know. It's cool.
I told you I was
it's
a
cool.
fan.
What? Oh, come on.
He totally fangirled and I'm like, calm down.
It was a masculine
You're
fangirl.
such a mark. It was not masculine.
It was a masculine fangirl.
It was the girliest.
It was a low
fangirl
C. I hit a
I've
low
ever
C.
seen.
So are you his assistant? What's the
I
deal
am
with
not
that?
his assistant.
Started off as assistant.
No, I never started off at his assistant. He's just an ass. I hope you can cuss on here. He's an ass. So when we first got started doing this, it started off as a joke. Oh, you're my assistant. You're my and I would always be like, I'm your co-host. He'd be like, yeah, that's what I said, assistant. I'm your co-host. So it just started off as a joke where we would, throw in like a little comical aspect in the podcast when we were doing the intro and stuff. And then
people ran with it.
Yeah, people ran with it, and he made me a cup that said "World's Okayest Assistant." Had a shirt made that said "World's Okayest Assistant" with my shirt with my picture from when I ran beach to bay
because
and I looked like I was dying.
Because I'm a gracious boss.
Whatever. You're not my boss.
And that's gonna go in your report.
So are you getting paid pretty good?
Or?
No. I tripled your salary.
He tripled my salary, but 000 means absolutely nothing. So
000.
Whatever.
Wow, man, that's awesome. I like y'all's chemistry, man. And when I met y'all when y'all first got here, I was like, oh, they're the exact same on the podcast as they are in real life.
Yep.
That's awesome.
What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. So how did y'all start? Where did it come up with? I mean,
it started off during the pandemic, and I was listening to another podcast that I like, Genius Brain with David So, and I was just like, this dude's just there shooting the shit with his buds, and I'm like, I could do that. I got friends that are cool as hell, and a lot of them people don't know their story, and I was just like, you know what, I'm gonna invite people on just so their story can get out. Like we were talking about earlier about, leaving a legacy and all that.
Yeah.
These people might not have a chance to do that. So I invited people on. It's like, okay, well, tell me your story, where you came from, how you, became a musician or artist or whatever. And let's put that out there so people can find out, that you're as cool as I know you to be. And started off with him as my first guest, and then we just rolled from there.
Yeah, I was listening to the first episode, and you're like, this is the Recycled Corn podcast. And you're like, should I call it that? And he's like, well, it's already too late. I
couldn't think of all the good names are taken. You know what I mean? Like, everything you look up, I don't know who've ever tried to name a podcast recently. If you go and type in, let's say you're, just a tip. Because you just want to give somebody a tip on something how to do. If you go to just a tip, it's already taken. If you go to, just about anything, and there's already a podcast called that. So there was a joke between me and my wife about, recycling jokes. Because I like to tell a lot of the same stupid jokes over and over again. And she was always saying they're so corny. And so I'd be like, okay, well, how about I just call it Recycled Corn? This way, it's a little more memorable, I believe, and it wasn't taken. But then she was all like, that sounds stupid. But then I told Scuba, and he's like, I don't mind it. And then I was all like, well, we'll figure it out. Once I hit record, we'll figure it out. And then it just came out, and I was like, you know what? I don't mind the sound of it. He was cool with it, so I was like, okay, this is what we're running with now. So we just kind of dove into the whole concept of it.
I like that. I like that, man. Recycled corn. That's
It's
awesome.
it came across organic.
Yeah.
It's just-
Across the airwaves, organic.
Yeah, and
that's
when, when he brought it up, I was like, "Oh, that sounds dirty." Like recycled corn, because corn doesn't process all the way when you eat it. So I was like, "That's nasty." But once he hit record and we started talking, he's like, "Welcome to the recycled corn." But well, I don't know if I want to call it that. I'm like, "Oh, it's too late." Like that's what you're going with. And we honestly, the way I would do my podcast, because I already had podcasts before, I jumped on with him. Was completely different. So, he had the mixer, he had this and that. So nothing was fine-tuned yet. And what was it? The second
rough.
episode or third
rough.
episode was, the audio was like almost unbearable. You cannot listen to that. It's the Minister episode.
It's still there.
It's funny because it sounds like an old, like, 50s
radio
broadcast sound to it, because the levels were just so off. And it's funny because we do this whole preacher minister thing throughout the entire episode, and it kind of works, but after that I was like, dude, I gotta adjust your settings and stuff.
Yeah, he came over, he's like, no, let me fix this real quick and all that, and it sounded so much better. Like, I bought this $90 mixer on Amazon, and then after that episode I was like, yeah, I gotta get a better mixer if I'm gonna be taking this podcast thing seriously. So I went out and I saved up a little bit of money and invested it in myself. And so now I got a better, nothing all Star Trek like we got here, but it is decent for what I got, and the sound quality is just so much night and day, like so much better. So I consider it worth it.
That's cool. So you knew you wanted to start a podcast. You already had the equipment. You were just like,
well, I didn't have the equipment. I looked it up and I was like, oh, for like $200 I could start a podcast that potentially could sound good. It's just up to me to make it something.
yeah.
And people tell me I'm funny, so I was leaning into that. And I thought the questions that I asked on the first interview were unique, that I've never heard anybody ask these questions before. So I was like, okay, I'm going to stick with this kind of format, asking these weird questions, where was your first kiss and stuff like that. And this way people could get to know more behind the guest, other than just, what everyone asks.
So it is a like a guest podcast.
Sometimes.
So when he and I are in the studio, it's just, we get in there and we just talk. Whatever, whatever's going on in the world, or, whatever pops in our head. There's really no format to the show when he and I are on there together. There are episodes that he does by himself that are the interview style, and I don't want to join him on those episodes because I don't want to take away the focus from the guests, because I know I can be loud and I know I can be, I'm not obnoxious, but I know I can, be this entity that, kind of pulls the focus away, and I don't want that, because I know he likes to do the interview style as well.
Yeah.
So when he does those, I say those are what did I say? Unofficial episodes of Recycled Corn, because I wasn't on them. So.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. That's awesome. I want to mention Anthony Diaz. Shout out, 50 States of Terror.
Hell yeah.
That dude's awesome, man. That dude's awesome. He got a big heart. I love that dude. He's awesome. I don't know him as well as you guys do, but I can tell he's
a great dude, and
he's great. Yeah, he's a great guest. We love having him on. We were doing it for a while. He was coming in every month, but he unfortunately had a family tragedy that came up recently, so he's been away, and we wish them well, wish their family well. Yep. I miss having Anthony on, and I hope we can get back to that as soon as possible, because you talk about the dynamic between me and Scuba. Well, me, Scuba, and Anthony, that's a whole other barrel of monkeys there. So
yeah, because he's the smart one.
Yeah, he's the guy in the chair.
Yeah, definitely.
It's awesome. Yeah, does you feel? I know he's a veteran. You're a veteran.
Yes.
Does the podcasting help you at all in terms of mental health?
It does. I consider it, and I've said this before, I consider it like a weekly therapy session.
Mm-hmm.
That's why if I don't even release an episode, I'll go and at least record something, because it's me getting it off my chest. And not that I had PTSD or saw combat or anything like that. It's just that, I went through some stuff outside of the military that just caused a little bit of, anxiety and stuff, and it does help. And everyone that I've talked to who does a podcast, they all say the same thing. It's like a form of therapy.
Yeah.
So that's why I recommend to people, like, if you have an issue like that, try it. You
Yeah.
know, you never know how it can.
It benefits you telling your story because somebody else could be going through the same thing that thinks they're alone. You know, so I get that aspect, you know, from his point of view. And it does, you know, there's people out there that have reached out to us and they're like, hey, so I heard this episode, and yeah, y'all were joking around about whatever, but I'm glad that somebody else knows or is going through that relationship problem or has gone through that same situation and have made it through. And, you know, I'm not going to be depressed all, you know, this entire time. Like, there's a light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
You know?
And I would agree that we weren't like that when we were younger. Like, how did we get like this
I
all
have
of a
no
sudden?
idea.
You know what I mean?
No idea.
I think life just beats the light out of you, you know, and you have to force it to stay, you know. And if you look at the rate of depressions going up and all that, I think it has a lot to do with we just got too much free time on our hands. You know, like during the Dust Bowl, people weren't worried about, you know, well, my feelings are hurt about this. I was like, no, I need to find food to stay alive. Like, so we got there's too much free time on our hands. And I'm not saying we should go back to that. I'm just saying we need other ways to occupy our minds other than, you know, how my life sucks right now. Because if you really think about it, in this country especially, we're way better off than, you know, a lot of people in the world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot to be grateful for.
So much technology too. Like you were talking about phones, how we have so much information just in that little.
Yeah, this is a supercomputer in your hands, and you know we have more technology in this phone than it took to get us to the moon.
If we went to the moon.
You don't think we
don't
went?
start.
No.
Don't start.
Oh wow.
I don't think we went.
Get his tinfoil hat.
Is that some of the stuff you talk about in your? So you got another podcast,
So
right?
I have a podcast called Somewhat Supernatural, and on that one is where I do have him on sometimes. It's not all the time, but I do like to bring him on just because
when I'm not writing?
he
the
likes you know the same stuff that I do when it comes to the paranormal. So I talk about all different kinds of things, you know, cryptids and ghosts and, you know, conspiracy theories and things like aliens, anything that you can go down a wormhole, a rabbit hole. That's what I talk about.
And there's a lot going on about aliens right now. I mean, have you seen some of the stuff that's going on?
Yeah, it's
So what's going on there? Not really. I mean,
Okay, like what happened in Miami. They're saying that at the mall, whatever, that some aliens just teleported in and started like kind of like glitching, like they're having trouble staying in our reality, and people are freaking out. But then the police, like all the police showed up, but they're saying like no, it's just a police response to kids popping fireworks in the mall. I'm like, yeah, but would they send every police officer over there? And they restricted the airspace above the, you know, and he was trying to say, like, what are the possibilities of nobody turning on their phone and recording these aliens? I'm like, yeah, but one time we were on an investigation and we saw something in the sky and we had cameras, in our hands. All we had to do was raise it and click
none
the
of us
button,
did.
And none of us did.
We
Until
were so fixated on these lights that we saw in the sky, and I thought it was Starlink, but that was not what we saw. And we were out in the middle of nowhere, you know, off of what was it, Chapman Ranch Road or whatever.
Yeah, so way out there.
And we just saw these lights. I thought it was like the sunlight gleaming off of like a power line off in the distance, but then it started to move. I'm like, what the hell is that? And literally, we're there for a paranormal investigation. We have cameras in our hands, and none of us thought to go boop and
Just
record.
like that.
But you know, and that was my biggest thing is, even if there was kids there or if there was somebody there, if it was aliens, somebody had to, regardless of the shock that's going on. There's shootings and stuff that take place, and people are recording.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't see how nobody put a video out. Now here's the thing: if they did have video, they confiscated everybody's phones and made them delete the video. The only reason I think that is because I was scrolling through, I don't remember if it was TikTok or Facebook or something, and this guy was like, my dad works for the Miami Police Department. I'm going to call him and ask him about the aliens. He's like, this is legit. I'm not. And so he FaceTimes his dad. His dad doesn't know that he's recording. He's like, hey, Dad, so aliens? And, you know, the dad, when he answered the FaceTime, he was like, oh, hey, what's up, son? He's like, so aliens? And the dad's like, can't talk about that.
Okay, talk about it.
He's like, come on, Dad, you can tell me. And he's like, I can't talk about that.
Mm.
He's like, wait, so but tell me, was there aliens? He's like, I can't talk about that.
Oh, gotta keep
Like,
it under wraps.
Completely changed. And I'm like, okay, that could have been faked, but you know, who knows? There's something out there. There's something we don't know.
I feel like you're on the same page as him. You just don't say as much.
Well, my thing is, like, I saw a video on TikTok that was taken down where this lady was saying that she took the coordinates for the ball in Miami and reversed them, and it put it in Antarctica or the Arctic or something like that, where they say that there's an alien base.
Oh,
So they're saying that whoever was supposed to transport the aliens from one place to another
Yeah.
Got him
put in
wrong.
the coordinates wrong.
Wrong coordinates,
What?
So
man.
they should have been at the base in Antarctica or whatever. So I'm all like, I mean, it's too much of a coincidence. No, I mean, there's been UFO sightings. I mean, there's UFO in Renaissance paintings. There's UFOs there. You know what I
Yep.
mean? So they've been around for a long time. Black Light satellite, whatever, for however,
Oh, the Black
3,500
Knight.
years. Yeah, Black Knight.
The Black Knight satellite.
what's the deal with the ones in Egypt? Does it have the correlation with aliens?
Man, of course.
Anunnaki.
Yeah.
Of course, dude. There's no way humans built those pyramids.
And
There's
this is
no
how it all
way.
starts, man. This is how it all starts.
Yeah, because we can talk about this the whole podcast. But there's no way the way they say we built the pyramids happened. None. Absolutely no way. To move that rock into place
Mhm.
and then lift it into.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
That's
Not
mind-boggling.
possible.
There's a thing called was a audio. It's like sound wave levitation, whatever. And there's a way to levitate objects using sound waves. And there's actually videos online that you could find of people lifting like pretty good sized rocks. They put it on top of a speaker and they turn on the speaker to a certain frequency and it raises that rock up. And they're like, yeah, look at this. And they turn it and it just starts spinning.
So
around.
where's that ancient technology, Ben? It
Well,
was
after they got all
aliens.
I was gonna say, after they got all the gold that they needed, they left.
They're gone.
Mhm.
They got what they needed and took off.
We're the genetically engineered workforce,
Yeah.
slave
Or the
workforce.
hybrid between the
Yeah.
apes and their whatever they were.
Because relatively speaking, humans showed up maybe like 200,000 years ago,
Mm.
and they say if you go according to evolution, we should have taken a lot longer to develop than what we did.
What the heck?
So
Wow, y'all get deep into that.
exactly. So that's what I'm saying. We could go more and more into it, but it's first off, if I say something wrong, they're gonna tear me
Yeah.
apart online, and I get a lot of stuff wrong because the memory just ain't what it used to be.
Because he's old.
What? I'm just 27.
You've lived a hard 27 years, my friend.
Wow. So PC versus console. Which one do you prefer?
PC, superior race.
Well, it depends.
There's no depends.
I love my PS5. The VR and everything. Like, I don't know.
I can still get good VR on my PC, man. My rig is a beast.
I
What
mean,
is that,
my
VR?
rig is a beast too.
Virtual
but,
reality.
Okay.
Yeah.
but I don't know. I guess because where I work on base. I work on helicopters. So my arms aren't what they used to be as far as like with strength and everything. So I can't do too much PC gaming because then my hands start hurting really bad, or my forearms start hurting really bad. So I can only do so much. But before all of this happened, I was definitely team PC.
But here's what I told him, because if you noticed, if you didn't see his hands, he's over here playing with the keyboard and mouse. No, sir. You get yourself a controller.
Then
Like
you might as well play console.
Like any real American would. You get a controller and you sit there and you play with your controller.
This Japanese controller,
Yes,
like a real
with my
American.
Japanese.
So might as well play console. So you can use a controller for the PC? Is that what you're saying? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
Bluetooth it and you can use either your Xbox or your PlayStation controller.
Nice.
Yeah. So now you know.
Nice.
Mhm.
And knowing.
Which games are y'all playing now?
Oh.
I'm currently playing Arizona Sunshine 2 on the VR, and that game is freaking awesome. It's a zombie shooter, first person, and you get a pet dog and everything, and you can throw the ball to the dog, and the dog will fetch it. It's not just that. It's not just
sounds
that.
like something you could do in real life. Jeez.
It's
Gee,
not
oh
just
my.
that.
Let me get online and throw a ball to this dog. Yay.
Hey, if you have
funny.
allergies,
So you're more what type? So
I am more into like horror games, anything horror. I love horror games. I just downloaded one called Demonologist, which is kind of
oh, I've seen that one.
it's kind of like a ghost hunting game where
Yeah.
you go into this mansion and have to solve what kind of ghost
Cool.
is there, demons there, whatever.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying.
Like a quest type of game.
Kind of, but it's more of like solving puzzles and stuff, but not really puzzles, but just to find clues to figure out what, you know. And there's another game called Phasmophobia, which is a total ghost hunting game, has all the same equipment we use on paranormal investigations, and you have to figure out what type of entity you're dealing with. So it's kind of the same style of game, it's just this one's with demons.
You said download, like, is it bootleg or is it
No. So on Steam, so
Okay.
I don't buy hard copies of games. I download them from Steam,
Right.
which is, you know, it's a store where you can just
Okay.
buy and you just download it and play it.
download it to your console? Or your
Yep.
console,
PC.
right?
PC.
PC.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Man, that's awesome. So you're an actual wrestler, right?
Yes. Well, yes and no. So I'm not trained. What happened was this,
What happened?
What happened?
WWE said, "Do not try this at home," and we
He's
said,
like, you know what? I'm gonna let The Rock do that.
Challenge
and I'm gonna do this over
accepted.
here.
So this buddy of mine had a wrestling belt. He would go to wrestling shows, and people would film skits. So I was like, let's take it one step further. So we started writing stories, and then we would do the stories, and the title would change hands. And then I said, then we started talking like, well, let's take it one step further. Let's start doing a bi-weekly show where we're writing stories and filming backyard wrestling. We didn't have a ring. We would just do it in the grass. Created character for myself, and I wasn't supposed to wrestle. I was supposed to be a manager, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it, and it was fun. So I was like, screw it. Ended up becoming the biggest heel in our company right now.
Yeah.
He says heel, but he's an anti-hero.
I'm an anti-hero.
Anti-hero.
I'm not really a heel. I started off as a heel, but now more of an anti-hero.
People
character.
love his character.
That's,
And he's total bad guy, but it's like the Undertaker, you know, like
Yeah.
he's scary, but the kids love him, you know. So it's
And it was really cool that, you know, because I wear this skeleton mask and I wear all black with it. I look like the Grim Reaper essentially when I come out. And at one of our shows, this little kid ran up to me and kind of just tugged on my hoodie, and he gave me flowers. And I
Oh.
was like, damn, I'm supposed to be in character right now. What do I do? And I was totally going to slam the flowers down and like stomp on them because that's what my character would do. And I just kind of gave him a thumbs up and then just slowly walked away staring at the flowers to the back. And I was like, oh,
Wow,
I got flowers
bro.
from a little
Man, that's fascinating to me how because some people just do it in their living rooms and stuff,
Yeah.
like, and then y'all actually took it to another level.
Yeah, so then what we did after we call it the grass era, we actually started wrestling out of a boxing gym in Kingsville. And we would rent their boxing ring and put on shows at a bar that they have there in Kingsville. And so people would go and watch us, and we'd come out and do our thing in the ring. So then we decided, hey, we're going to buy our own wrestling ring. So now we have our own wrestling ring. It's set up in my buddy's backyard, and we're called All Content Entertainment. And we just, like I said, we just write stories, and we have an event coming up March 9th. It's our first event in Corpus at the Galvan Ballroom.
Ooh, nice.
So we're super excited that we get to go and actually showcase what we're doing. And it just started off as a bunch of guys just playing over a belt.
Yeah.
It's
You
like
know?
they say, it's a show by fans for fans.
Yeah.
And it's cool. I do commentary on there with my buddy Chris, and it's a lot of fun to watch. And now my son's into it too.
Yeah.
So he's there, and he's doing the family proud. You know what I mean? So
He gets his ass kicked by me every time.
Yeah. Oh wow.
It's
How,
great.
so was he 19 or 20 or what? How old is he?
my son's 20 stages. He's short. You know what
Okay,
I mean?
okay, okay.
He's a little guy.
He gets that from his mom. So.
But the thing is, so anytime we get new guys, they always, because we always make them cut a promo, they always go for me.
Oh,
and I'm
shit.
like, dude, what the hell? Why does everybody always cut promos for me? But I'm the heavyweight champion. I'm undefeated. Like, so everybody always cuts promos towards me, you know?
Cut promo. What is that?
Meaning where it's
call
like
him out.
You call me out.
Oh, okay,
so
okay.
I say, okay, you're going to be a wrestler. Here's your character. Here's what you're going to do. I want you to cut a 30-second promo of you talking crap to Ben, and here's why, and go. And then you just say what you say, and you know, like kind of like Hulk Hogan used to do in the
Yeah.
Macho Man. You know, those kind of promos.
Calling out, the,
you know,
the head dude, the top.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to
and
top
everybody does that,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, if
And
you're
I'm not
not-
even the main champion.
Oh,
because
so-
we have the all content champion, which is the main title, and then My belt is the heavyweight championship, which is, it's right there too.
Maybe
but
the
it's not
people's
the
champ,
main.
that
Yeah.
type of thing.
And
I mean,
so-
if you're going to call somebody out, call out the head guy. I mean, because he's the most popular one in the company. Most people don't know, who Stryker is. They know Lord Draven.
Yeah.
So why not call out the guy who's putting the asses in seats and bringing in the most views,
Yeah.
So
It's just fun, and now we're trying to lead it into a different direction where because we do it for free. We don't we pay out of pocket like for the ballroom, and we do accept sponsors and stuff. Anybody wants to sponsor the show, we throw we'll make them a commercial and stuff and throw it on the shows, because like I said, we do the bi-weekly show, and then we promote them all year long at the events, everything. But everything's out of pocket. We pay for the venue. This time around, what's different about this show is we have actual wrestlers coming in and participating in the main event.
Wow.
So we got 4 guys from local wrestling up in Houston. They're going to come down and it has nothing to do with our stories or anything like that, but just to show that, hey, we're bringing in talent
Some
too.
other talent
out
there.
So
That's awesome.
But it's fun. It's fun. Like I said, I want to leave a crazy legacy.
Yeah.
I want to do all these things that just leave this crazy digital footprint for my future generations to be like, damn.
Yeah.
So if y'all want to come check it out, come check it out.
March 9th, the Galvan Ballroom.
Yeah, definitely, man. And then, so you're talking about you had a broken rib, bro?
Man, okay, so
Here we go.
And you got carpal tunnel, right? You got carpal tunnel?
Yeah.
And he's
So-
got a broken rib.
But I also have a what do you call that? A cut finger.
yeah.
So
So
if
in
you
our-
want to start a GoFundMe,
Oh, yeah.
In our October event, I had I was the main event or whatever, and the guy I was going up against, we had everything planned out. So his finishing move was the stunner. Well, my character is a supernatural character, so I have 2 titles. I have the heavyweight title, and then I have what's called the underworld title.
Yes.
And the underworld title is kind of like the Undertaker's urn. The Undertaker
Right.
got his power from the urn. I get my title or my power from the underworld title.
Yeah.
So as long as the title's around, you're not going to hurt me.
Yeah.
You can hit me as hard as you want, and yeah, it's going to stun me a little bit, but you're not going to hurt me.
Yeah.
So the way the story was supposed to go is one of the guys that was part of my team defected from my team. He came out, took the belt, and said, "You're not shit without this,"
Oh, shit.
and took off to the back. So then, it was all planned, but the tide of the match would change and show that I'm not this unstoppable force. I'm not anything without that belt.
The belt, yeah.
So, mind you, every match that I've had up until this point, I've had either the Thorn title, which was the precursor to the Underworld title. I either had that title or the Underworld title there. And so I feel like it's kind of like a thing, like I have to have it there, because if it's not there, I'm going to get hurt. So when Grim, the character that took the belt, took it to the back, Mac started beating my ass, and I was selling everything. So he was going to stun me, and we were doing a casket match. So the point of the match is you have to get your opponent into the casket that's outside of the ring. So we had this whole thing planned. He was going to stun me. I was going to sell the stunner. He was going to roll me out of the ring. We were going to get back in the ring. There was all this whole thing we were going to do. Well, when he went to do the stunner, you're supposed to let go of your opponent's head before you hit the ground so that they can throw themselves back. He didn't let go of my head. So when he brought me down, my rib hit his shoulder, and I had jumped to sell the hell out of it. So I jumped up when he went up, and all my weight goes down right on my rib, and I felt it instantly. And so I fall to the ground, and it looks brutal. Like I sold the hell out of it, but it was real pain that I was in.
Yeah.
And so we're laying there. I'm like, "You broke my rib," and he's like, "What?" I'm like, "You broke my rib. Just get me out of the ring." So he rolls me out the ring, and there's a part where when I get rolled out and my feet hit, I fall to the ground and I whimper. But that wasn't fake. That was real. Like that pain, that fucking hurt.
Yeah.
So then another guy that was on my team came out back with the Underworld title. So then the tide changes again. I get revamped. I start whooping his ass. But I'm like, we got to finish it now. I'm just going to fucking curb stomp you into the cement and throw you into the casket. And then I was gone until the event that we had in December.
Well, it's funny though, because in the group chat for Recycled Corn, me and my buddy were talking about what we were going to eat for dinner. And I was all like, yeah, I'm thinking about getting some cracked ribs. And he's like, wow, that sounds really good. And school was just like, you dicks.
I'm like, fuck y'all. But yeah.
It's funny,
So even though it's scripted and even though, everything's predetermined, you can still get hurt.
Yeah.
We had to do this last event that, tried to do a move, and he had practiced it and done great every time. But he pulled it off in the ring, and the guy's shoe came up and hit him in the face, and he tore his nostril. Like the cartilage right here. Yeah, just had a slice right in his nose. Dude. And so, like I said, we don't get paid for this. We just go and do it for fun, and it is fun. But I'm getting old.
We gotta get y'all on the podcast.
Hell yeah,
that'd be awesome. That'd be awesome. We're talking about scripted. So you script the podcast?
Sometimes.
Okay.
So some segments are scripted, but I'm in scripted as though maybe there's like one or two lines that I want there to be said, and then after that he's free to do whatever he wants until the next part that I want him to say, because I have a specific direction that I'm trying to lead us down, and if I don't follow this particular path, then
we go all over the place.
Yeah, and sometimes I don't mind that happening, but let's say I'm setting up for a joke or I'm setting up for like a wifey sauce bit or something like that, then I need it to go a certain way. So those times are very, very rare that I'll like script it out.
Yeah.
But writing scripts, like I've written scripts for his Supernatural show. I've, written things for other people's stuff, but well, not for Anthony because he's like a professional writer.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I used ChatGPT to write something one time, just like a quick thing. Yeah. And he got so offended.
Oh, no way! Wow.
I'm sorry.
I wrote a whole 2-part episode of Somewhat Supernatural on ChatGPT on exorcisms, just because I wanted to see if it would give factual information and everything was legit.
Nice.
And it put it perfectly in. I'm like, dude, we get 2 episodes out of this. Like, let's do it. You know what I mean? And it just works easy for me because I know what I want to look up, but I just don't want to do the research for it. So it just puts it there in front of me and I'm good to go. I'm lazy like that sometimes.
So I guess the AI could be good and it could be bad.
It can be bad in a sense, especially if like you try to write a paper for school or something. I feel like that in that sense it's kind of dumbing down our kids and stuff, because they're not stupid. They know they can just go in and type in, write me a paper about this and this. There's no way that the teacher's going to be able to tell. Or
if you're trying to copy somebody's writing style or their artistic style, or if they're trying to, do what's the most recent thing, like deep fakes, whatever, where they put, naked pictures, but they'll put like Taylor Swift's face on somebody else's body and make it look like whatever. So stuff like that's where AI kind of like, it's not great. But like I said, with Anthony, he's a purist in that, his passion is writing. Yeah. So it'd be like telling a musician, like, I don't need you anymore because I got this computer that can do the same thing you can do, and there's no soul to it, So I get where he's coming from, but at the same time, I get where he's coming from, because sometimes, like, man, I need to do an episode. I got like 15 minutes before Scuba gets here. Yeah. Let me go to ChatGPT and, hey, write me a script for blah, 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 and then put, all right, perfect. I'll copy, paste. Okay.
That's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. So you don't just, like, did you start doing the scripts like at the very beginning, or like when did you decide you needed one? Or
it was kind of in the middle. We're still trying to figure out our voice, and the scripts at first were more substantive, I guess. But then the more I learned about Scuba and how our rapport is, those scripts started getting less and less and less, to where now the only thing that I have scripted is my opening and the closing, and that's because there's certain things that I want to say at the beginning and certain things I want to say at the end. And basically, I just want to make sure that I say the tagline, the podcast about nothing and everything, and at the end to make sure that I don't forget any of the socials or the email address, whatever it's.
How did you fall on it's about everything, get nothing, or?
Well, because people would say, what's your podcast about? When I tell them, oh, yeah, I got my own podcast. Really? What's it about? It's really about nothing. I was like, but we talk about everything. So then I was all like, huh.
We're like Seinfeld, but podcast form.
Nice.
Oh yeah, I never thought of it.
Yeah.
Like that. I never really watched Seinfeld though.
Yeah, I was thinking that too for my podcast. I think it came from that. Like I was like, we're originals. Like we're nobody yet. We're everybody.
Yeah, I like that. That's deep.
You know what
But
I mean?
isn't that
That's deep though.
isn't that anonymous?
I don't know.
It's like
It sounds good though. I
I'm
mean,
not
I
gonna
like
say,
it.
I'm not gonna say anything about.
Yeah, right next thing you know,
Yeah.
next thing you know, that picture that Melody took.
Oh no, it's gonna be all over the internet. No.
They'll be like, if you really zoom in on it.
Womp womp.
she was so embarrassed, bro, in that video. Oh my gosh! Shout out to her,
She's
man.
gonna be so mad that you brought that up. On the podcast. She's gonna be so mad at you.
Let's talk about it.
That's awesome, man. That's pretty cool. So you plan to have it for going for a good while.
We're like 78 episodes in. So if you think about it, like the early episodes were over, some of them were over 2-3 hours. So man, we've been doing this for
a while.
over 100 hours, I guess you could say,
No.
of content that I've put out, which is really kind of sad if you think about
And
it.
I'm so thankful I've only
Why
been
is
there
that?
for like 50 hours.
Because I've been going for so long and I haven't even put out that much. I know I'm very inconsistent. You know, life happens with us, and you know sometimes we can't put out an episode, and I'm just like, man, I thought I would have more by now. I know for our 100th episode, I do want to do probably a live episode where we can take questions and stuff like that. We're probably going to do it at Molly's,
Nice.
just because you know.
Yeah, because I work there.
But yeah, like I said.
Use me. Use this. If you don't know what that's from, it's from Blood In, Blood Out.
Yeah. Man, you were talking about Molly's house. Somebody got shot over there. That's crazy, bro. Like, and then you were like, man, I can't believe we went business as usual the next day.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
you know, then
Well, if you let it get to you, then the bad guys win.
yeah, you know, and that's the thing is as sad as the situation is, and it was a total fucked up situation. You know, it's we can sit there and let it linger and let it take over our lives, which I did. I suffered. I still do. Can't be around like loud noises. Like if somebody drops something and makes a loud bang, like my PTSD kicks in. You know, still to this day. And this was back in 2019, 2020, whenever it happened. And it just it's fucked up, and it took a long time for me to go back into the bar. You know, I'm kind of glad COVID happened because it gave me a time to actually mentally prepare to go back in there. You know what I mean? But, you know, things happen. It doesn't matter where you're at. You know, you could be at Walmart. You could be downtown. You know, look at what happened at the parade for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
You know, you're just there having a good time, and some dickwad comes in and just screws everything up, you know?
Yeah.
But if you let the bad guys win, then you're not doing your part of living, you know? So.
Wow. Good way to look at it, man. So you guys got the recliners now.
Yeah.
So good to sleep in.
So it was such a good investment. Yeah, like people fall asleep during the podcast.
That would be.
I was so
tired.
mad. I was so mad. I
so
get it though.
tired.
I mean, I get it. He had a long week or a weekend, and then the long week leading up to that recording of that episode. But I was all like, dude, it's an hour, you know, like. But like I said, I get it.
Yeah.
I was pissed in the moment, but you know, hindsight, I'm all like, yeah, he has every right.
But I was still talking.
He has every. Yeah, in your sleep.
You actually fell asleep, bro?
Yeah, fuck.
Wow.
Yeah, I think Anthony was on.
Yeah,
the episode,
Anthony was
so I
on there
like,
too.
whatever,
So,
y'all talk.
so Anthony and I were keeping the conversation going. Also there,
No.
I was like, what the?
I was tired, bro. I had a newborn. Leave me alone.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, for sure. Lose sleep on that one.
Yeah.
So you're slowly making your way to a video podcast or what?
Eventually, but like I said, I don't know too many people who want to see this in high def. You know?
I have to see it all the time, so if I have to see it, we need to share it to the
Take off your
masses,
glasses.
because it's not fair. It's not fair.
I don't know. My wife's like, you know, but you're handsome. I'm all like, I know.
Yeah, I
But
know.
still, I have insecurities.
You're the kind of handsome that all abuelitas tell, you know, their grandkids. Ay, tan chulo, mijo.
It's like,
really?
I know.
and they feed us the most, right?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Yeah. So, you were talking about something that made me go think about like the parenting post I was talking about. You guys are both parents, right?
Yeah.
How do y'all feel about that? Like, because I was talking about how our children need their parents.
Oh, definitely. I should I say when my kids are growing up, I know I wasn't there for them the way I should have been. I was involved with a partner who wasn't healthy for me in that regard, and stepping away, I was all like, I finally got a chance to think about what had happened and the wedge that she drove in between me and my family.
Oh.
And I was all like, man, like, I can't believe I let this happen. So I've been, slowly rebuilding that relationship and that trust with my kids. And now I'm all like, man, like, I will literally be brought to tears sometimes when I think, like, man, I wasn't there for my daughter's, big moments or my son's moments or whatever, because I let this woman, infect my head the way she did. But, as long as I'm alive, there's always tomorrow. So, like I said, I'm building those things back, but I can advise people because I have been the bad parent, and that's why when I see the way he is with his kids, I'm all like, man, that's the man that I should have been. And that's why I respect him so much, I see the way he's, and I'm being choked up right now.
Don't compliment me after you've been talking shit this whole time.
That's our
Don't
whole,
make me
that's
tear up, you
our
bitch.
thing. That's our
Do
thing.
not make me tear up.
Like I said, a lot of my friends are really good parents. And I'm all like, I wish these guys were around when I needed those peers to guide me,
Yeah.
I don't have a great relationship with my brothers, and it affects you.
Was your dad around?
Not my real dad. No.
Stepdad?
Stepdad, yeah, he did his best, but, that's what you're saying, the importance of parents.
Right.
He was a parent, but that wasn't what I wanted at the time. I needed my real dad. He wasn't there.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom left my brother and I with my dad. I was maybe like 2 or 3 years old. Out of sight. Never saw her till I was a teenager.
Oh, wow.
My stepmom and my dad raised us when we were younger. And I made some stupid decisions later in life. Went to live with my mom. My dad was pissed. I didn't know until later. I'm 41 now, and I have my own kids, and I want them to have a relationship with my dad and my stepmom, because I saw what, they may not have been perfect or whatever, but I saw what they did for us, and I was like, dang, and I find myself doing that for my kids.
Yeah.
Now, see, my stepdad, which I call my actual dad. This is my bio dad, and there's, my dad. He did what he could for us because we made it difficult for him, not because he didn't care. And I don't want that to be put out there. Like, he did his best because we were dicks as kids. My older brother and I, we knew our father up for so many years, whatever. So when he left, it was like, well, why are you going? Why can't we go with you and all that?
Wow.
Because he was always the fun one. My mom was a disciplinarian and the dad was a fun one. So when he left, it was like, okay, well, we want to go hang out with you. We have fun with you. But, so like I said, it made it hard for my stepdad. But now looking back, I'm like, man, I caught my first fish with him, throwing the ball around. And he taught me how to change the brakes on a car, all these different things. And I'm just like, that's why I don't call my bio dad. Like, this is my dad. And I won't let anybody, like, if you put a picture of my dad, like, not my bio dad, but my dad, and me right now, we look exactly alike. And it's like, how is that possible if we're not blood?
Because dogs look like their owners. It's a scientific fact. I'm just saying.
I mean, I guess when I'm licking my nuts and I fall off the sofa, I mean.
But and in the same aspect, I get where he's coming from, because my stepdad raised me from the time that he met my mom. The story was that he kidnapped me when I was a baby. My mom was a waitress at a bar. He was one of the regulars at the bar. She didn't have anybody to babysit me because she was on her own, you know, and I was a one-night stand baby. And so he saw me there, gave her his ID and said, this is where the baby will be at when you get out of work. You're not going to keep him here in this bar.
Wow.
You know, and this is back in the 80s. I was born in 82. So he took me home, and my grandparents were like, where did you get a baby from? And my grandpa was like, you need to take that baby back, this and that. Him and my mom ended up dating. My grandparents just loved me. Like, I've always been the favorite. Like, I never knew my dad was not my dad until my mom just, like, shattered my world when I was in 5th grade and told me that my real father wanted to meet me. And I'm like, what do you mean? And what the fucked up part about that is, and I still remember this, the day before I got mad at my dad and I said, I wish you weren't my real dad. And I swear to God, had those words never came out of my mouth, he would have been my real dad. You know what I mean? But I feel like I made that happen as a stupid little kid at, 11 years old.
Manifesting things.
And, and even when him and my mom, and it didn't change our relationship. It just made us stronger, and I hung out on the full day with my real father, and then I never saw him again. Yeah. Never heard from him again until I was in high school. But even at then, it didn't matter. Yeah. He didn't raise me. I'm a Vasquez because of my dad. When I talk about my dad died in 2016. That's my dad. That's the man who made me the man I am today. Was he perfect? Absolutely not. He was an alcoholic. He was on drugs. But I learned what I didn't want to be for my kids. He was a great father. Was he the best person? No. But he was a great father. He did what he could for us. Okay. But when him and my mom split up, he just went on this downward spiral that he never recovered from. And he died in 2016. He had all these things wrong with him, and his drug use didn't help. And, it just kind of took him away from us earlier than what he should have been. He was only 59 when he died. Oh, wow. And so I know my real father. I have him on Facebook. I talk to my siblings from his side, but he's not my dad. He'll never be my dad. Yeah. My mom ended up remarrying, and I consider Larry my stepdad. He's my stepdad, and I call him dad now because he did a great job of raising my brother and my sister. He didn't raise me. My dad raised me, but I respect him for what he did for my mom and my brother and my sister.
He's like he earned that title.
He did. He earned that title, and he's a great guy. But like I said, my dad was a great father, and I took all of the good that he showed me, and I amplified that to my kids. And my kids mean the world to me. My oldest son is 22 and my baby's 9 months old. And then I have a bunch in between. Not a bunch, but there's 3 in between. But I never treated any of them different. My 21-year-old, he's my stepson from my previous marriage, but that's my son. He just graduated from AIT today. He's in the Army. Nice. And so, there was a situation, so we got to find out if he's going to Ranger School after all or not.
Wow, cool.
But fingers crossed. But he did something that I never thought he would. My oldest is trying to be a mechanic. My 22-year-old son. My 19-year-old daughter. It's kind of a fucked up story, but when I first got married to my son's mom, she cheated on me with my best friend, and I call that the Vasquez curse because that's what happened to my dad and my mom. She cheated on him with his best friend. So when she left me, she was already pregnant, didn't know she was pregnant. So my ex-best friend raised my daughter, my firstborn daughter. Whoa. So we don't really we have a relationship. She knows who I am. I've always been in her life, but just as her big brother's dad. She knows I'm her father now, whatever, but she looks, my daughter now, my baby, Charlie, looks exactly like she did when she was a baby. Yeah. And she's the one that pointed that out. I didn't point that out because I don't have any baby pictures of her. Yeah. And then my daughter Sam, she's my world. She just graduated high school early. Like she's my stubborn one though. She's terca, and I just want to be the best dad to them and give them the things that my dad was never able to do. I am diabetic like my dad, so I take care of myself as best as I can. I'm not out there making stupid decisions like he did because his thing was, well, I'm going to die anyways. Cool. But if you die, you're gonna miss out on all this stuff, and I don't want to miss out on anything. I want to walk my daughter down the aisle. I want to see my son get married. I want to see my new baby girl, grow and see what she becomes in life. And granted, I'll be viejito when she's old, but I just.
She'll have a good support system around her.
She will. But I just, and even though you love your parents no matter what, and like I said, my dad was not the best person, but he did what he could for us, and he was the best father that I could have asked for, because even with the bad, it showed me what I didn't want to be.
Wow. Do you find yourselves being like hard on yourself, like too hard on yourself, like, you know what I mean? As a
He has to tell me sometimes, like, basically smack me around and be like, dude, stop.
Just
like,
chill. Yeah.
I'm my own worst critic when it comes to, and not just when it comes to the podcast, but just in life too. I'm very hard on myself. And I think it's kind of, my I don't want to say like perfectionist thing, because I've learned to kind of go beyond that, but I'm very like, it's kind of like an all or nothing attitude, if I don't achieve like the best, like when I was in the Army, I had to be honor grad. If I wasn't honor grad, then why was I even there? So it's like I got honor grad, and then after that I needed to be squad leader, and then
crazy.
I always want to be the best at everything. Like with the podcast, like I said before, I'm always trying to learn. I'm always trying to, what mics is this guy using? What mixer, like, what video equipment and all this stuff, because I want to be the best. But, I just realized, sometimes the best isn't meant for me. If I wait till something is the best before I put it out, it's never going to be put out. So I need to just take it to where as far as I can get it and just put it out there and just be, let it go, be done with it. That's why when we're talking about that episode where the sound was awful, I haven't listened to that episode again, because I'm just like, it was horrible. It's not the best that I could have put out. Excuse me. So I refuse to acknowledge it.
I listen to it because it's funny. Yeah, like, I do. I go back and I listen to it and I laugh, because I'm like, dude, this sucks. But like I said, it has like that old time feel, like you're listening to it through a tin can. Wow. Like it's just the audio on it's so bad, but I love it because I'm like, dude, this is us. Like, this episode is the epitome of the Recycled Corn podcast. Cool. Like this is where we got started.
It's like we're trying our best, but sometimes
and I'm not hard on myself. I mean, I guess I am. Sometimes I take on so much stuff, and I want to excel at everything that I take on, whether it's the wrestling or the ghost hunting or the podcast or writing scripts and doing short films, and I just got cast to be a villain in a video game. I can't say anything because of the NDA, but I'm gonna be a main villain in a video game that's coming out on PC cool. and like off of TikTok, bro. Yeah. And I thought it was bull. Wow. I thought it was bull that they were contacting me to do this. I was like, man, whatever. But I had the interview and signed contracts, and so I get to play this badass fucking character in this MMORPG that's coming out on all these awesome systems that I play on, and I'm like, there's another thing. There's another thing I get to add to my IMDb.
That's
like,
cool.
This is awesome.
And I get to say I know that guy.
Yeah. Nice. So do y'all market? How do you find yourself marketing the podcast on social media?
I don't.
We don't. Oh, okay.
It's all word of mouth.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons is I'm broke. No. I have been approached for like sponsorships and stuff, but the people who've approached me have always said the same thing. Oh, I don't want you. I'll do this for you. I'll pay you this money, but don't talk about this anymore. Or don't talk about that anymore.
They've done that to you?
Yeah.
Seriously?
And I'm just like, I don't want to get involved with that. Like if somebody wants to sponsor us, great. But I want you to want us the way we are, because we're not going to change. Yeah. And oh my God, I would love to be able to do the podcast, as our full-time job. I would love to be able to take a camera crew and go down to, Devil's River. We've been wanting to go. We got invited to go to Devil's River in San Antonio to go private tour and all that stuff, because we're always talking about them. we just haven't been able to do it because one, I don't have the equipment, and two, like just finding the time to get out there.
I'm going next weekend.
Yeah, so he's going to be our as co-host.
Motherfucker.
Assistant.
That's his duty. That's his duty.
Quadruple his salary this time.
Yeah, next year we'll talk about
Damn it. Never gonna get any money.
Get us a sponsor. If anybody wants a Dusty, you want a sponsor? No.
Yeah. Shout out Dusty for letting us.
Yeah, this place is beautiful.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
I don't want to go to your studio no more.
I know the studio's crap.
Produce right here we go. They got this hoodie out. I love this hoodie. Man, I like metal bands and I like the logos that they come out with. This says Produce Goods on it. They got it now on sale at the shop. Check it out, Produce Goods.
See, now
They don't pay me to say that. I just want to support what they're doing here. So,
20-year-old me would have been able to read that without him telling me what it said. Because, 20-year-old me listened to metal and, 41-year-old me going into 42 next week. I got that old man syndrome because I was like, oh, I see where it says produce. Oh, okay, I get it.
I'm
now.
all like, oh, it's a butterfly. I'm like, oh, wait, no, that's not that kind of thing.
He's even older than me.
nice, man. All right, we're coming up on almost an hour. We got like 5 minutes left. Is there anything y'all want to share?
Scuba likes HEB tortillas.
Yeah, okay.
They're awesome. The butter ones are great. Don't tortilla shame me, bro.
Which HEB do you avoid?
Oh, food.
Annabelle.
I was gonna say I tried to not go to the one on Port unless I have my gun on me.
Oh,
Bro, that's Raza, bro.
So Raza.
I avoid the Annabelle one because I went to Toloso, and okay, as much as I am an extrovert, I hate talking to people that in public, like especially people are like, how can you be antisocial but you're a DJ? Well, because I'm in my DJ booth, I don't have to go out and talk to people. I'm behind the mic, and I just call people up to the stage to sing their karaoke songs, and I play music and make everybody happy. I don't really like going and having like.
Speaking of, how often are you recognized in public?
It depends. Like not as much as I used to be back in the day, but now I get recognized for different things. Now it's like, oh, you're the ghost dude. I've been recognized because of the Dark Side Paranormal stuff. Like, and that for me is like the ultimate because it's like, oh, cool, you watch the ghost stuff.
Yeah,
like,
nice.
You know what I mean? Like if somebody's like, oh, Scuba, cool, I met you at a bar. You know what I mean? But
I've met one person who recognized me from the podcast.
Wow.
And they tell me like, oh, you're from the second quarter. Like, oh yeah, that's me. Like, yeah, Scuba's fucking funny. I'm like, you know what? Fuck you.
I take all credit.
Yeah.
Hey, but who's the one who hired you?
Who writes the checks around here?
I kind of hired myself.
Nah. It's like, who hired you? Wifey sauce. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair.
So he likes the HEB tortillas. All right.
It's okay. Ben likes Vienna sausages.
Yeah, y'all were talking about was it tamales that last time, and you were like, I got my mom's tamales. If deli goes down, I got my mom's.
Yep. Well, and then my grandma taught me how to make her own tamales.
Nice.
So I can make the meat, but I can never get the masa down. And so over this Christmas break, I said, Grandma. My grandma's 94 years old. So
Oh, shoot.
I was like, Wella, I need you to come over, teach me how to make your masa. She's like, okay. So she came over, taught me how to make it, showed me everything.
Yeah.
And I feel like the key to making the tamales taste the way she makes them, she has this old meat grinder that was her great-grandma's. So this thing is super old, cast iron, awesome. She finally gave it to me. I said, hell yeah.
All sorts of Ebolas on there.
I made my own hamburger meat from like steaks and stuff. I sit there and I grind it, dude, and it tastes so much better. But that cast iron soaks in all that fat.
All that
you know,
all the neighborhood cats.
How the hell did she get to 94, bro? That's
bro, and
my
she's
question.
still kicking, bro.
She's still
kicking, yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, she's still good. And before my daughter was born, she was always like, "Oh, I can't wait to go. I can't wait to go." She's outlived everybody.
Wow.
She's her and her sister, who is the youngest child out of, I think there was like 8 of them. They're the only 2 left. Wow. And grandma was second to the oldest, I think, and they've outlived everybody. And even, her sister, my tia Chaka, she's got kidney cancer right now, so she's not going to be around much longer.
Oh, man.
But, dude, grandma would still drive if I let her.
Okay.
And I took her car away. I said, absolutely not.
They built them different back then.
Yeah.
But
Did you guys grow up in Corpus?
Yeah.
Okay. Which high schools did y'all go to?
Moody.
You went to Tuloso, right? Moody?
Mm-hmm.
Oh. I've interviewed a lot of people from Moody, man. That Moody crowd, bro. Like, they're either... like
it's either all down here or all up here.
Exactly, bro. And that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, man, and the dudes that are on here that have come, I'm like, they're doing stuff.
Yeah.
They're doing something.
You got to. I mean, like, it's either that or just give up, and so you it's like you're saying about examples and stuff. It's like if you don't have, you see an example of what you want, you can either go for it or get bitter because you don't have it.
Mm-hmm,
I chose to do something. Take a chance, bet on myself. Take a chance on me, and I think I'm doing pretty well. I mean, we're all these different countries, whatever. Like last time I checked, we're over in Ireland and Germany and Philippines and Indonesia, India, like UK.
And it's a great feeling knowing that there's people in other countries listening to us. Like Somewhat Supernatural charted in Tokyo or in Japan.
Wow.
Like and when the network that I'm on, when the boss was like, "Hey, you're charting," I was like, there are so many paranormal podcasts, and I was in like the top 100, and I'm like, how? Like, that's dope. And it was in Tokyo,
all the episodes,
or in Japan. It was an episode I did by myself that charted.
He wants to say that.
So
which host
really
do you? Yeah, nice. That's cool, and it's cool that you have different guys from different parts of the world. That's awesome. Which hosting service do you use to push your podcast out?
I just use Spotify for podcasters.
Oh, okay.
Like I really said, other than the promo that I do on Facebook and sometimes Instagram and X, I really don't do much. I don't invest in it. Like I said, I want it to. If I'm gonna get popular, I want it to be organic. Somebody to find me and be like, "We love you the way you are." Here's $100 million. I want that Joe Rogan.
You're waiting for that,
contract.
yeah. I think, for sure.
I mean, because I can be.
Hi.
Yeah, I can get away from the government job.
Get away from the government job. So both of y'all good government jobs. Man, I wish I could talk to you more. You guys are awesome. Been an awesome guest.
Part 2.
Yeah, part A.
Part
good
2.
idea.
Part 2, but on the Recycled Corn podcast.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I want to get Anthony. I'm gonna get Anthony on here.
Oh yeah, I get you all on there.
Yeah.
Like I got enough mics. It's like part 2 in this time.
Just don't expect to get any
refreshments
because he's an a-hole.
All right,
No. I got some sparkling water now. I discovered the HEB sparkling. Was it mineral water with lime?
We use that
one. Dude, it's so freaking good.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
That 1870. Like next time you come over,
we use that. We get the one that.
I'm gonna fire you from your podcast.
So how do we find you on socials? Is it?
Okay, so for me, I am Lord_Scuba on TikTok and Instagram.
Host with the Ghosts.
And Instagram, I'm at Host with the Ghosts. And on Facebook, I'm just Lord Steven Scuba Steve Vasquez.
Nice.
And me, you can find me on Facebook at I am Ben De Leon, pretty much everywhere. If you want to follow the podcast, it's Recycle Corn Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and X. If you want to follow me there, so like I said, I got nothing for you. I don't do much on X, and it's like I said last time. As a matter of fact, if you follow me there, unfollow me. I don't need your numbers.
Yeah,
I don't need that exposure. Just no, I'm kidding.
Follow me though. Follow me. I need the exposure. I need more TikTok followers, please. Tk you.
Yeah, I'm also on TikTok at I am Ben De Leon 3 because I forgot my password to my other accounts. So
nice. Yeah. Nice. Well, if nothing else, you guys, appreciate y'all coming.
Yeah, man.
Thanks for tuning in for the Corpus Christi Originals podcast, you guys. Stay tuned for the next episodes. We got 23rd and the 1st. The 1st, we got Big Joe, TikTok influencer, and a friend of mine, Ed Faust, that I met at work. So he's just another original like us. But yeah, thank you guys for coming on the show. Y'all have a good one.
Thank you, my friend.